And our final conversation of the day is with the incredible, she talked with you a little earlier, Terri Jackson, who is the executive director of the Women's National Basketball Players Association. You know that the season just ended, but her work has not, based on everything that's going on right now. She has done an amazing job accomplishing so much in the previous CBAs, navigating issues like league salaries, benefits, and of course, all of the new extraordinary attention and growth. And Terri will be joined, because of course she will, by four-time Emmy Award-winning co-host of ABC's The View, New York Times best-selling author, all-around bad woman, and someone I had the opportunity to interview on a stage very similar to this just a couple of weeks ago as she was spreading gems to young little black girls in the city of Hartford, Sunny Hostin. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up Sunny and Terri. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So it's been a long day. Let's try to let's try to make this interesting for you then.
Let's do it.
Right? Terri and I have known each other for six years. I've been a part of the WNBA Board of Advocates. And so
I'm sorry, she didn't even do that right. She is a member and was a member of the inaugural Board of Advocates, and we still claim her as one of our advocates.
Thank you. So I love the WNBA. I love what's being done, and I love the renewed interest in women's basketball. As you know, I played a little bit of ball in college myself, and I think there's breaking news. So the breaking news is that the WNBPA announced it is opting out of their collective bargaining agreement. That is breaking news. How have the economics of the WNBA changed in the past year? Make the case for what these players deserve.
Yeah, that's a great one. That is the work that we were doing for the past year. So I said earlier that it's business when it comes to the players, right? So we convened a CBA committee a year ago. We convened a group of advisors, amazing experts in their fields in forensic accounting, in media rights deals, those who are able to evaluate media rights deals, a law firm that is experienced in labor law. They pored over the league and team financials, looking at the business from the last 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago to where we are now, not just looking at this moment, because we know what the numbers are right now, right? Mm-hmm. We know the explosion of growth. You heard everybody talking about it all day. And then we had that same team of experts kind of project and look forward as to what the future could be. Mm-hmm. And there was a determination that you could stay in this CBA and maybe that revenue share provision would be triggered and this is what the outcome could be, or you could look to see and realize actual growth and be a part of the actual growth and see your value in real time. And so it didn't take too long, but it was a lot of questions, it was a lot of study, it was a lot of review over the year, and then the player leadership was positioned to make that decision. And when they did, they overwhelmingly decided that they were going to opt out, and they were going to stay committed to the fight. And so the economics are good. They are strong. When they opted out last time, and everybody was so worried, oh, the league is going to fold. Look what happened, y'all.
Yeah.
Look what happened. The league's doing well, right? Really well. Even through COVID, really well. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it wasn't hard. It was not a hard decision. The economics are strong, and there's an opportunity for the players to play a part in this growth and receive their true value. And we're excited to get started.
When we're talking about value, what about the idea of WNBA players owning equity in teams? I know it's something that sort of bounced around a lot, but tell me, how exactly would that work?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you exactly how it would work. I'll say that everything's on the table for negotiations. Everything's on the table for that conversation. And we actually kind of started it last time. people who've poured over our CBA may have missed what I used to call the Tina Charles provision, because Tina Charles was so committed to the New York Liberty, so committed to this city. And when the Liberty were in Westchester and everybody, it just killed everybody and everybody's spirit, Tina's like, what can I do? Can I buy the team? Can I buy into the team? What can I do to invest in it? And so we have a little provision that talked about what that opportunity could be, or that the league and the Players Association would come back to the table to see if there was a real opportunity to look at what equity, what an equity stake would be. I know the guys have talked about it, the NBPA have talked about it in terms of having an ownership stake in W teams. And we were looking to have an ownership stake in our team. So no, not going to tell you exactly how it's going to look, but I'm going to tell you it's up for discussion.
It's up for discussion. I like that. Now, the NWSL players just signed it's a really historic labor deal, I think, in my view. Do you see a difference in the labor movement in women's sports versus men's sports?
Yeah, kind of by definition, right? Becca Rue, I don't know if Becca's still here, but we kind of talk about this a lot, too. When we talk about the labor movement, we talk about a resurgence of the labor movement, traditional labor movement too, like the teachers, the Teamsters I'm talking about. We think that resurgence of the labor movement comes through us, right? Comes through the players' associations, but specifically through the players' associations that represent women athletes, because we understand what it means to be a union. We understand the value of the collective voice and sticking together and fighting together. And so I'm hopeful in that regard. We see it, I think it just plays out a little bit differently across men's sports. It looks a little bit different. We don't have a lot of the resources that they have, the financial resources that they have, and we're not as big. So we understand that our values got to be in that collective voice. Our values got to be in those fundamental labor principles.
Well, let's talk about scale then, right? How can you scale the growth of the last few years to benefit the athletes? Because there has been this just tremendous amount of growth.
Yeah, well, when we look at the business right now, we see new ownership groups, and a few of the folks kind of talked about it today, and we had Claire Sy up here, and she's one of the new ownership groups. She's been around for a little bit with the Liberty, right? But she's still counted as one of the new ownership groups. We see them coming in and willing to look at the W teams as a business.
Right.
They're willing to invest in a business and grow the business. They don't talk about losses. They talk about what it costs to grow their business. And they're pouring resources into facilities. They're pouring resources into a game experience in the arena. They're looking to really maximize the ticket sales and the revenue. They're looking to do all of this, and they're willing to pour all of those resources into different parts of the business. But what happens to the players? What happens to their salary? Well, we're part of a hard cap system, Sunny.
Yeah.
And that system is hard.
Yeah.
And all the dollars that are flowing into the business aren't flowing into the players. And so that's what we're talking about when we say a new economic model. That's what it needs to look like. We need to see the dollars flowing into the players.
Now, what about partnerships? Have you developed any exciting partnerships that perhaps have impacted the association?
Lil's still here. Lil's still here. Lil was talking about, on the previous panel, she was talking about the partnership that we had with L'Oreal, and that was a true story. Lil called me up, and you heard it. She called me up, and she said, hey, come over, let's talk. And what do you need? What does that look like? And before I knew it, we had, I don't even know if you finished the story, but we had an amazing glam suite at All-Star Weekend, and you talked about all the things that you wrapped around the players. How meaningful that was, because it touched so many players. It was over the course of the entire All-Star Weekend, And we're still talking about what next will look like. There's also a partnership that we have with Google Pixel. And Google Pixel announced the opportunity to work not just with us, but they did a trifecta of a deal. So they're working with us, they're working with the U.S. Women's National Team Players Association and the National Women's Soccer League Players Association. So they were looking to work with all of the women's sports players associations. And these partnerships are so meaningful because we are aligning with brands who understand the importance of investing in the business over the long term, what that looks like. And, you know, they understand that working with us on the player side of the house means that they are pouring directly into the players. And that's the kind of impact that they want to have immediately.
Right.
I also want to talk about Aflac, because I don't know if you all really know the Aflac story. Let's talk about the Aflac story. All-Star Weekend, so the league reaches out and says, you know, we need your help getting players to participate in the skills contest, getting them to participate in the three-point contest. And we're like, okay, that's great. We'll help. Yeah, we'll get excited, but what are the incentives? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I said, okay, well, come on. Like, we got to add a little zhuzh, a little something, a little sizzle to get them excited about this. They're excited generally, but we got to spice it up a little bit. And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, okay, well, are we increasing the prize pool? And they said, well, no, we can't do that. And I said, what do you mean? Why can't we do that? And they said, well, this is what we negotiated. And I said, hello, I'm the union. If you want to pay the players more, we won't file a grievance. It's okay. And that prize pool, for those of you who don't know, is $2,500, right? Each. Yeah. So I have a staff member. Michael, where are you? Where are you, Michael? There you are. I have a staff member who said, can we help with this?
Yeah.
Can we sell the opportunity? And I said, well, I don't know. Let's talk to One Team Partners. One Team's in here. And so One Team does our marketing and sponsorship work. And Emily, I don't know where you are. Did you tell this story, Emily, earlier? I'm telling it now. By the end of the week, so Michael calls her on a Friday. By Monday, Emily's got a short list. Aflac's at the top of her list. She calls Aflac, and the request was, the ask was, could you, think about partnering with us, making this a real, experience, a real opportunity. We can engage some players, get their excitement. And our ask is $50,000. What do you think? And Aflac said, sure, let's talk about it. So we're talking about it, and then we get on a Zoom with them, and I'm getting off a plane, and Michael's like, you better get on this Zoom really quickly. So I get on the Zoom, and I'm, going down the little people belt. And it's a true story. And I hear the question, well, how much do the guys get paid? How much do they make when they win? And Michael, he knows all the CBAs. Michael says, well, they get $55,000. And so Aflac said, well, then that's the pot. And we're like, wait, what?
I love that.
And they said, yeah, $110,000.
I love
Y'all are supposed to applaud on that.
Yes, I love that. Yes, why should it be any different? Why should it be any different?
Why should it be any different? And then the end of the story is Alicia Gray wins the skills challenge in the three-point contest.
Yes.
And we do the check presentation, 2 check presentations for $110,000. And that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, and so, but that
Congratulations on
shows you there's opportunity in that very asset, right? There's a corporate partner who was looking to be a part of this, invest and pour directly into the players, and they partnered with us to make it happen.
Right. Well, what other investments do you think are needed in just the space of women's sports?
Oh, dear. Well, let's talk about the investor. Let me start with the investors real quick, because we'd like to see more investors, more men, more women, more diversity. I'd love to see ownership groups that include retired players, WNBA players, because I know they want to be a part of this too. Would love to see that. We'd love to see folks who are committed to the business and growing the business.
Right.
We want to see women who are in it because they are committed to uplifting other women. What does investment look like? Can we talk about Practice facilities?
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't really talk about this a lot. I haven't talked about this in a little while. Things are changing, but I still am reminded my first week in this job, I get a call from Elena Deladon. So after I get starstruck over the fact that Elena Deladon has just called me, and this is my first week on the job, I'm listening to her, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Elena, could you repeat that? And so now she's yelling because she's telling me that she just took an ice bath in a garbage can. Yeah. That's not okay.
No.
That's not okay. So we looked in 2018, for the 2020 CBA to negotiate standards for basic standards for what practice facilities, what game facilities should be. We wanted to shine a light on those teams that were just trying to get by and not really have the professional experience that our members, that these athletes deserve and require because their bodies are their craft. It just makes sense.
Right.
This is not about having a shiny new thing. This is about being able to do your job and have the resources available to you to recover after a hard practice, to have good nutrition, just all of that.
Yeah. Hotel rooms. Flights.
Hotel rooms. We don't share hotel rooms anymore, so we're good.
Yes, we're good. We're much
good.
better than that.
But flights, okay. We're flying charter this year. We're flying charter next year, I think. It's not in writing,
yeah.
but it was rolled out and announced, so we're going to hold the commissioner at her word, right? But we need to have that memorialized.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the lawyer in me, Sunny.
I know. We were talking outside. I was like, as lawyers, that's how we think. Where's the paper? What about global sporting events like the Olympics or the World Cup? Do you believe that that's impacted the WNBA? Because I know I have a group of friends that they were inviting me to go to Paris. I had to work, but
You didn't go to Paris? I didn't go either,
I
don't
was
worry.
one of 9 that didn't go.
No, I didn't go either. I didn't go either. I didn't have the budget. Next time. I love this question because I've been hearing, panelists all day talk about global footprints and global sports, and the references was tied so much to soccer. And I'm like, hey, what about us? We're a global sport. We have so many international players in the W. We have so many players in the W who've been going overseas to play. And so I have been saying, we're the global ambassadors for basketball. We really are. I mean, the footprint is big, is big. And I kind of wish that we had really maximized the opportunity to do that storytelling, to make that connection for fans, not have the W kind of go dark in the off season, but to keep telling the stories around the players and going to Turkey, going to Germany, going to, wherever they are on the continent. They go to a lot of places, a lot of countries. And, just really broaden the women's basketball footprint because I'm certain the economic model would benefit, right?
It would.
Okay, that's
would.
what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I see that we're running out of time, so I want to ask you one last question that I think is very important. You've been doing this for a while. I know how passionate you are about it. What do you see as your legacy?
This is my 9th season in this job. And at least a couple times a week I say, it is a privilege to have this job. I report to the players, and trust me, I take that so very seriously. I report to the players. They are in charge of this union. I hope that my time as their executive director is described as one that was committed to servant leadership. Just that. Because that means that I am listening. I say all the time, you can't lead until you serve first.
Right.
That means I've got to listen, I've got to understand who they are and what they are and how to make it better for them. And Yeah, that's what I hope my legacy is all about, that they'll say that she listened, she led, she served, and she got the job done. We got a CBA to negotiate, y'all.
That's right. That's right. And I know if anyone can do it, you can, my friend. I know that. Well, thank you all so much for being here all day. I just kind of came in and left, so I'm leaving. So
Okay, but you
sorry
were at the
about that.
View. You had stuff to do.
I was working. I was working. But thank you so much, just for everything that you do and all your hard work. And thank you to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.